Morning, whiskey neat. Good morning, good morning. What's going on? Yeah, today is I'm being very mindful. I think that's the word I want to use. I want to be very mindful in how I engage this conversation. Good morning, little mama. I want to be very mindful how I approach this conversation, because I don't know what I'll be like welcoming into my life in terms of like chaos and BS. But we're going to talk about billionaires. We're going to talk about one billionaire in particular. We're going to talk about Anita Zucker today. And when I tell you that, similar to the 9/11, good morning, D. Similar to 9/11, I know some of y'all be like, why are you so worried about 9/11 and how you talk about it? Good morning, Charlie the Brit. I'm gonna need to do my breathing. I wanted to be careful because just when you talk about things, and sometimes I don't want to go out. I don't want to be outside my depth talking about things. I don't want to speculate too recklessly, even though I do welcome a modicum of reckless speculation. But yeah, I want to be very mindful, and I also want to say this is not a faith conversation. So let's cut that right out. This is not a faith conversation. This is a cultural conversation. And Anita Zucker's identity does and will play a factor in what I'm looking at, or the journalism that I'm leaning heavily on, because it's not me. But this is not a faith conversation. That I want to be abundantly clear on. So this is not that. In fact, what I'm trying to do is I made sure that I was being respectful and mindful, probably to a point where I don't necessarily think was even necessary, but I just want to frame that up right now. This is not a faith conversation, so cut it out. We're just following the literal influence and following. I know when we talk about money and people of a Jewish faith, I know that can get tricky. But this is not about that. This is not about tropes. This is about a powerful billionaire. And I do think that you can scrutinize and look closer at billionaires, especially here in Charleston, how they shape things like our education system. Good morning, Debbie. How they shape things like certain commercial interests. I think that's fair. And Anita's not going to be the only billionaire in South Carolina, in the Low Country, that I'm going to look at. Of course, I'm going to do a Ben Navarro. What's up? A Ben Navarro live stream. Shit, I might do Linda Kettner. I'll look at people of immense wealth and means here in the Low Country, here in South Carolina, as we move forward. But the Anita thing, what inspired this live stream today was just talking about the whole city council, recapping city council, and then seeing how the sister cities international recognition factored into a lot of what, like, after I got off, y'all, I guess I didn't make the connection between the conservation folks taken to the mic. So we had several either members of coastal conservation, or you had some people affiliated in some way, shape, or form with Coastal Conservation League. You saw them take to the mic during city council, talking about the Greenbelt project, and I didn't click and link it, but that Greenbelt project and the airport on Johns Island, JZI, and the interests around that, the courting of Doha. Good morning, Megzi. The relationship between Charleston and Doha, Qatar, it all kind of factors in. And so that's what prompted me to kind of continue this conversation. So we're going to follow the money. We're going to follow the family tree, and we're going to get into it. But let's have some fun real quick, because we are going to be talking about Anita Zucker's and that, how it's shaping the city, right? What kind of city is Charleston being? What are these trends we're seeing with technology? Being an emerging tech hub or wannabe tech hub. What does that really mean, right? Innovation is another word that keeps popping up in my research in terms of like what things we see when folks are trying to create tech hubs or trying to trying to turn a city into a tech hub. We're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna have some fun first. How about that? We lighten it up. Oh, we're gonna get into the Murdaugh stuff too. Look, this man got arrested again. This is the ghettoest family I've ever seen in my life. This family is ghetto child. Ghetto child. Ooh, Lord. Very ghetto. Extraordinarily ghetto. I'm about to just look up the newspaper right now. Woo. Again. It's just like when Trump became president. I'm like, this dude got 3 baby mamas. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be a woman or a black or a person of color in president, you gotta be. There's no margin for error. But these powerful white men, child. These powerful white men, child. Oh Lord, getting arrested. We're gonna jump into this. We ain't even gonna jump into this again. For those who just joined me, today's live stream. If you got the newsletter, I saw the typo. The grammar police. Don't come at me, bro. Right. So this is today's live stream. What the actual Zuck? Questions about Anita Zucker's business interests. We're gonna get into that responsibly, right? Right. The Trump family, Joni. Good morning, Joni. Right. So we're gonna get into this. Thumbs up, thumbs down on my graphic. What y'all think on the thumbnail? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'll try to kind of represent like the multiplicity of this woman's influence and how she shows up in all these interesting places. So I wasn't calling her Two-Faced. I was just saying like she's layered, right? So that's what. Thumbs up, thumbs down on that. I had fun making that. We're also gonna get look at this. That's what I'm saying. Like city, I'm trying to be like you, little mama. I'm trying to be artistic. Thank you, D. So yeah, we'll get into this. Like I said, okay. So real quick. Thank you. Remember yesterday, right? Remember yesterday I was kind of calling Doha like our sugar daddy or our sugar people. Remember what I was trying to come up with? So I looked it up. So a gender neutral term for sugar daddy, sugar mama is glucose guardian. Yes, I think Doha is going to be our glucose guardian. I think we got a couple of glucose guardians, Charleston does, in terms of like just who's making it rain all over the low country. Who's making it rain? I got a couple of, that was from Reddit. I went on Reddit and they were like glucose guardians. I love it. That's not mine. You going to have me plagiarizing people. I don't want to put plagiarism on y'all's chests. All right. But let's get to the ghetto Murdaughs. I just literally just started playing any clip just because. Oh, and there was a development yesterday. Remember we watched the CBS This Morning exclusive? Well, the Today Show exclusive, I think they admit that he wasn't shot. So how was this man arrested? Because I don't get this. Let's just play this real quick. Let's just play this.
Breaking moments ago, everybody, more twists in the now growing legal case involving a prominent South Carolina attorney. We just learned authorities took Alec Murdaugh into custody in Florida. Investigators had already accused Murdaugh of trying to orchestrate his own execution after someone killed his wife and son. Now law enforcement officials saying he faces 2 felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses. Law enforcement says this also stems from an investigation into missing settlement funds in the wrongful death lawsuit involving a former housekeeper. A press release from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division notes the housekeeper, quote, allegedly died in a slip and fall accident on Murdaugh's property back in 2018. Murdaugh will be extradited to...
But those similar interests ruled that natural causes. A slip and fall is not a natural cause, but that's what they ruled it. Look, Sled gonna have to get it together years, if not decades of covering shit. We know this. I told you Sled was involved with the great granddaddy Buster Murdaugh and all them, right? Sled was very much instrumental in like, you know, giving them slaps on the wrist, giving this crime family the slap on the wrist. Now they're gonna have to actually do real fucking police work and maybe, you know, maybe this man will remain in custody. And look, I'm an abolitionist, but look, this millionaire is out in Florida going to expensive ass, like, you know, rehab facilities. Any other person, right? Any other person would be incarcerated if there was even a hint of the similar scandal, right? Get out of here.
South Carolina to, in fact, face charges.
Okay, that was interesting. That was abrupt. Let's get to one more clip. Let's see if this offers anything else.
Attorney Alex Murdaugh has been arrested and charged with misappropriating insurance settlement funds.
This People magazine online.
In the wrongful death suit that followed the mysterious death of his longtime housekeeper. According to a press release, agents with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement took Murdaugh into custody on Thursday as he left a drug rehabilitation facility in Orlando. He is charged with 2 felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses in the death of Gloria Satterfield, who died in the Murdaugh home back in 2018, allegedly after a trip and fall accident. Eric Bland, an attorney for Satterfield sons, claims that her sons filed a wrongful death lawsuit for their mother at Murdaugh's suggestion. Bland goes on to claim that Murdaugh suggested attorney Corey Fleming to represent them in the suit, but failed to mention that Fleming was his best friend and college roommate. According to Bland, the sons accused Fleming of withholding money from them. A death settlement of $505,000 was approved in 2020, but Bland tells people his clients haven't been paid one dime. He also claims that after filing a lawsuit on September 15th regarding the funds, he uncovered a previously undiscovered judge's order approving a $4.3 million settlement. That same day, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division announced that it was opening an investigation into Satterfield's death. Murdaugh will remain in custody in Florida until extradition to South Carolina is granted or waived. He will then receive a bond.
I think he was extradited. Hold on 1 second, my headphones. I think it was extradited. Oh man, my headphones don't sound good. 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, I don't know. Maybe I blew it. Maybe I blew my headphones. All right. Thank you. That's all that matters, that y'all can hear. Probably because they getting up there. These are old and cheap. All right. Yeah, what's working? All right, here we go. All right, so let me see.
Bond hearing. The troubled lawyer made headlines back in June after he came home one night to find his wife Maggie and youngest son Paul shot to death on the grounds of the family's hunting lodge.
So do we think that he's the one? Like he's the one? Shout out to the new subby. Good morning. Do we think that he's the one that that killed the? Like, what are we thinking? I don't really even think anything.
Still investigating their deaths, along with the alleged illegal activity, scandal, and bizarre behavior centered on Murdaugh since their killings.
So yeah, I want to not the 20, but one more here, the Today Show, because I think this look like the lawyer's. Is he dressed better? He ain't dressed his client any better. But
prominent South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh has been surrounded by a series of mysterious tragedies this year, starting with the double murder of his wife and son this summer. New this morning, one of Murdaugh's attorneys says that authorities consider Alex a person of interest in that case in an interview with Fox Carolina News, though his attorneys continue to deny he had any involvement in the murders. In September, adding to the mystery, Murdaugh said he was shot in the head on a rural road. Law enforcement now believes Murdaugh conspired with Curtis Eddie Smith to kill him as part of an insurance fraud scheme.
To be clear, does your client maintain utter and complete innocence in this case?
Go ahead.
I didn't shoot him.
Are you innocent of everything?
I'm innocent.
This lawyer is so wild to me.
I shot him, hit him dead. He's alive.
Smith now telling.
So you see this? How's he arrested?
Of everything.
I'm innocent. If I'd have shot him, hit him dead. He's alive.
Smith now telling his side of the story. Smith tells me he had no idea what Murdaugh's plans were when he agreed to meet a man he called his.
But how did he get airlifted? Why was he airlifted if there were no visible signs of a discharged weapon, graze, there were no wounds on this man's face or upper part. I don't know how he was airlifted. Why was that a thing? If he was talking to 911, if he was able to call 911, How is he just airlifted if he didn't sustain any injuries from a discharged weapon?
Close friend on a remote road in Hampton County, South Carolina. He says Murdaugh showed up with a gun.
And he's standing like this. He said, "You gonna shoot me?" I said, "No." He said, "You just got to do it." And he made us move like this, you know.
This don't even make sense because this don't make sense either. So if someone wanted you to kill them, why would they put a gun into you and like, you better kill me? What? I don't understand. I don't know. That just don't sound. Good morning, Brian.
You took the gun.
Shoved it behind him, between me and him. And it went off.
The gun went off. Did it hit him? Did the bullet hit him?
There's a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs. There's a lot of drugs going on. A lot of drugs. And I'm not trying to be flippant about addiction. This don't sound right.
So that story where
There's no blood on me. There's no blood on him.
He didn't get shot in the head.
No.
He didn't get shot.
He bounced off his car and kind of made a move to get the gun, and he hit the dirt, you know. And
what percent are you positive that he didn't get shot? If you could put a percentage on it.
1,000.
He didn't get shot.
Murdaugh's
So
lawyers
why was he
declined to comment. They
airlifted?
maintained their client suffered a head wound. The Hampton County Sheriff's incident report initially said Murdaugh did not have any visible injury, but a corrected version released shortly after says there was a visible injury.
See, now that's, y'all see that? See how the wealthy can willpower? How it changed?
Said Murdaugh did not have any visible injury, but a corrected version released shortly after says there was a visible injury.
Where?
Murdaugh's lawyers say Smith took advantage of a man in the throes of a decades-long opioid addiction who was grieving the unsolved murders of his wife and son. They claim Murdaugh wanted to end his life so his surviving son could collect on a $10 million life insurance policy.
I don't get this.
Hey, thanks for watching our...
Sorry, Al. I just don't get this. Let me hop back over using my library card. Let's look at the Post and Courier. Let's read some of this coverage. Who wrote this? Avery's on it. All right. So it says charges tied to wrongful death settlement, money owed to sons of late housekeeper. Right. So Murdaugh arrested again and accused. This is the headline. All right. Disgraced attorney Alex Murdaugh was arrested again and charged with stealing money from. Let me make it a little bit so I can read it over here. Stealing money from a wrongful death settlement that was owed to the family of this late housekeeper. SLED said on the morning of October 14th, it had taken the suspended Hampton County lawyer into custody, picking him up from an Orlando, Florida rehab facility. Sounds nice. Orlando, Florida rehab facility where he was receiving treatment for years-long opioid addiction. Today is merely one more step in a long process for justice for the many victims in these investigations. Whatever, SLED. Yeah, it's just ghetto. I'm sure the podcasts are having a ball with this. It's just kind of exhausting. And all it does is underscore how there are two separate justice systems, right? And I didn't get to talk about this yesterday, but I'm gonna touch on it now. And I really wanted to. I just forgot. I put it in yesterday's newsletter that went out prior to the live stream starting. But for those who don't know, Akua of Geechee Experience is experiencing some personal issues with the justice system. I shared this post in my newsletter. So basically, Akua, if you follow the page, I'm not going to play it, but if you follow the page and if you follow, this struggle that Akua's had, basically her mother's been incarcerated. She's being detained at Al Cannon for not paying family court fees allegedly owed to a lawyer who helped represent her. It's a very complicated personal matter, so I won't divulge those details from what Akua told me directly on the phone the day before yesterday. But what I will say is that Akua's situation It sounds untenable. It sounds completely unjust. And it underscores a really disgusting practice of poor people being jailed for fees. And when you see a Murdaugh being able to not just evade justice for decades, the whole family is a crime family, right? Going back to Buster, right? The way the main patriarch died is mysterious on a train track, in a car on train tracks, 1 o'clock in the morning, back in the 40s. What was that? 40s, 1940 he died. Then Buster took over from 1940 to 1986, 83, 86, right? It's a lot of concentrated power, a lot of bullshit, and a lot of bending the rules and bending laws to accommodate the wealthy. And so when you compare it, there's no comparison, to be locked up. The good news is it sounds like Akua's mom, it sounds like in November there might be some relief. So I'll leave it at that. But please, if you feel inclined, please go to Geechee Experience. Y'all know it's a popular page, but this is a real life issue. Go ahead and head over there and engage with the issue however you want to. Listen to the story, but it's definitely a debtor's prison. So the wealthy can be released on their own recognizances, even after being accused of stealing millions and millions of dollars from settlements, from law firms, from people. Even though there's a double homicide on their property, there were no cameras working that night. It's a big mess. And it's super unfair to people who can't, and this guy has access. I mean, shit, you got Dick Harpootlian representing you to some. Oh, look, Moderna got a booster. You got Dick Harpootlian representing you. So, like, that's power on top of power, influence on top of influence, so on and so forth, right? What's this over here? Attorneys saying no to the vaccine is a right. Judge hears arguments and government workers challenge. This mandate thing is getting tricky. I think that we're seeing some interesting conversations. It's not as black and white as we thought. A lot of labor unions stepping up as well with that. But yeah, so this is the front page of today's Post and Courier. We'll transition out of that. And again, for those, hey, how y'all doing? For those who are joining me, we are discussing today. We're going to get to it. We are going to discuss, Miss Anita Zucker and her influence here in the Low Country. That's what we're going to be discussing in a second, but we're going to get through some things. All right. So yeah, Murdaugh, update. I really didn't have like a recap of, news today. I wanted to kind of just jump into because it's kind of meandering. The whole thing I'm trying to do. Anyway, so let me look at the chat in regards to what we just watched. In the chat, you said he has a high profile Whiskey Neat. That's probably why he's probably requested it for effect. Are you talking about? I didn't know what you're talking about specifically because I didn't see when that dropped into the chat. But yeah, I appreciate the comment. I'm trying to engage with it thoughtfully too, because it's a tricky situation. But I stand in solidarity with a number of organizers, activists, people who are largely influential, culture bearers. I like to call them culture bearers. I stand in solidarity with them, and hope she asked me to share it, and I'm sharing it on my platforms the best way I can. Right. Yeah. Oh, he probably requested it with Whiskey Neat. Okay, I got you. Thank you. That's crazy. You can do that? Like a fucking Uber? Oh, I mean, I get, like you said, to your point, his profile. Okay. Like that to me is a crime. All right, so we're about to jump into Anita Zucker and her influence here. Yes, we kind of still in that Qatari state of mind, still in that Doha state of mind. Almost got too many bookmarked pages. Where we at? Money Cash Drones. Oh, I know where it's at. Money Cash Drones. Right here. Jeez. Yeah, so yesterday fell down a little bit of a rabbit hole with a friend. And so this is how I'm gonna play it up. This is how I'm gonna This is how I'm gonna like play this today. I got questions, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And like I said at the beginning, for those who just joining now, this is not a faith conversation. This is not that. Faith will come up, but it is not a faith conversation. I'm not interrogating any of that. There's going to be point of views from Orthodox Jewish folk about the practice that the Zucker family's engaged in. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to present you their perspective, what's been released to the public in a media source. And I'm going to present other things as well. And I'm going to beg a couple of questions. And I'm going to ask y'all to help me beg a couple of questions. And I do anticipate in the future talking about Ben Navarro, talking about a bunch of billionaires here. Hey, we can talk about Linda Kettner too, right? Right. We can talk about just how people use their influence here and what are they shaping. So one thing that came into clarity is that there is a very specific vision that people like Anita Zucker have for Charleston. Like they have a vision. They're trying to shape this city into they have a very specific goal and an intention. I am not clear on what that is, but judging by where Anita has placed herself in public education, the move toward privatizing public schools, the move toward other moves, right? Good morning, Kia. I've got some questions, and so I'm going to frame these as questions and beg these questions, okay? But can I just say this? Because we're going to talk about tech hub cities, which I feel like, okay, so when I moved back here in 2014, I was in this space where I was going to quit my job. I quit my job at Trader Joe's and say, I'm just going to relocate back home, be closer to my folks. As they're aging, I wanted to be closer to them. Never really considered making Charleston my full-time home until the moment came and I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And part of the reason that kind of brought me was this whole promise. I had gotten into tech at that point. I had gotten into learning more about tech, wanting to learn more about digital social media, digital marketing, so all that stuff, right? That's what I wanted to do. And one of the things my last year in the Philly metro area, I kept coming back home. Like I just would jump in the car and just drive from Montgomery County, PA to Wamala. Just kind of do it a lot. My sister had just passed away at that point, so I was spending more time with my mom. I wasn't working full time at that point, and so I'm driving back and forth, and I'm learning that Charleston is being called nicknamed Silicon Harbor. And so I learned about the presence of Blackbaud. I learned about the Google processing centers in Moncks Corner. I learned about, y'all can just fill in the tech companies that was here. All the little tech companies that came and went, startup contests. I didn't tour Blackbaud. What was that other one? Ooh, that was out there on Clemens Ferry. I actually went and toured because I wanted to know more about the organization. I was building out a website. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to build out like an app or something. Like seriously, like my mind was, I went back to school. I went back to College of Charleston, got my certificate in digital marketing, social media, and all that other stuff. Like I was in this zone. What is that other tech place that was on Clemens Ferry? Not Boomtown, not Benefit Focus. Good job. I know you're rattling them off. Oh, what was the other one? Spark. I think it was Spark something, right? And they were very so I saw what was happening and I was like, okay. And I'm like Silicon Harbor, and then like they had those Dig South had all those like conferences. They had Gary Vee come in town, all that, right? Yeah, you worked at Benefit Focus? Oh wow. So you had all this stuff going on. So let me just kick it off with the part 2 of one of our favorite content creators. This is Joey and Sean. Remember Up and Coming City Vibes? Well, they made a part 2. They published it yesterday. And it's just a little levity as before we get into some sticky stuff regarding Charleston's favorite billionaire.
Hi, I'm Joey.
And I'm Sean.
And today, we're taking a second glance at our mid-size, up-and-coming city.
We may not be a big city,
but we're bracing our questionable infrastructure to grow like one.
Okay. Can you not word it like that? We're ready to grow, and we're ready to be profitable.
And we're ready to check out the sights and the bites.
And cut. I just, there's a lot of opportunity here.
Thank you.
In order to pay respect to our city's identity, we've kept the rustic, historic water towers.
They're kind of like a bat signal for where gentrification is going to happen next.
No, you can't say that word.
I'm just saying, if I see a water tower, the wealth impaired are going to get kicked out.
It's a positive change.
For people who like artisan coffee.
The economy. You're saying a lot of hot words. We have a progressive communal commons, which encompasses a brewery, artisan coffee, and tacos.
It's essentially just a mall food court without the kiosks.
No, stop saying food court. It's not the 90s.
It's like a mall food court.
I know, but when you lie with taste, that's called marketing.
Dumb it up.
Dumb it up.
So that's actually a brewery in its infantile stage.
No, actually, that right there, we don't have anything planned yet. We're just kind of digging around and looking for inspiration. It's called meditative bulldozing.
That's going to be a brewery.
They're really good at this. This part 2 was funny to me. I know part 1 and you probably can't top part 1, but this is funny because in its hilarity, you see the truth though. Like they're saying that it's very much commentary, and it's gonna lend to this conversation regarding Zucker. But here we go.
You can tell we're an up-and-coming city. We have a series of new and innovative bike trails.
More of like an innovative way of losing money. They clutter the roads anyway. What, do you think you're a car?
There's a G-Wagon. Up-and-coming city bike. It's a G-Wagon.
Lots of money here.
Under this bridge is a kid's park by day, but at night it becomes a homeless shelter.
No, don't say that. We've worked on relocating them. We've bought everyone bus tickets to Los Angeles.
We need to relocate them quicker.
Your own compassion.
I'm trying to grow our city.
Grow your heart. There's an unsettling amount of open apartments here, but you're still going to pay for over asking price on our homes.
No. There's a healthy opportunity for your family to practice paying a mortgage. It's New York living
without being in New York.
Way more
Lots
than a
of
mortgage.
Opportunities here. We hired a local artist to paint a portrait of Shia LaBeouf.
It's an up-and-coming city vibe right there.
Brings back a lot of memories. My dad wasn't around.
You can tell we're an up-and-coming city because we have the Delta variant.
No, we do not.
Southwest Airlines is a variant to Delta.
You're talking about Southwest Airlines? What are you doing? We need to practice.
Lots of opportunity. We have a super hip nightlife that ensures you'll always
run into someone you went to high school with.
He's not wrong.
Why can't the person I always run into be Michelle?
Restraining order.
Technicalities.
That's the speaking.
Yo, shout out to all the followers who keep telling me that I went to school with their moms, making me feel really old as hell.
Easy trolley.
Yeah, you can suck vodka out of hanging tubes.
You can actually grab a bite
while
taking in the sights.
Of loud lifted trucks and revving motorcycles.
Has anybody ever told them that's not cool? It's actually kind of annoying.
We should make a sign.
Oh, is this their sign?
Yes.
You can tell you're from an up-and-coming city because middle-aged men mistake wealth for having a personality.
Come on, you're just mad that Jane left you for the mayor, which is pretty cool. I mean, he's the mayor. He drives a white Corvette. His license plate says no mercy. Look, there's the mayor right now.
She looks unhappy.
She's laughing.
You're the mayor?
No.
Pull up to the scene with my...
This is actually the founder of our city.
My favorite brewery is named after him.
My favorite hotel is named after him.
Okay, grab here.
At the Brewery Hotel?
Yeah. Thank you.
So this is pretty neat. We actually have a bridge where families and teens come to pretend to be happy for social media selfies.
What's your problem?
What? I'm just being honest. We actually pitched Tesla on moving their production here.
What'd they say?
Oh, they didn't open my email yet.
I'll tag them on Twitter and LinkedIn.
Oh, that's a great idea. Why do you follow Kelly Osbourne?
What? So that's actually a bunch of coffee being shipped into the city, which will then be charged at 500%.
No, probably 600.
600%. I'm actually on a cleanse right now.
You quit alcohol?
No, I quit drinking coffee. I can't afford it here anymore.
We actually have Tesla parking.
No one really uses it, but we do have it.
Is that a Tesla?
No, that's a Toyota Yaris. Our mid-sized venue attracts lots of big acts, like Michael Bublé.
Oh, no way. That would have been awesome if it was 2011.
Well, Louis C.K. is going to be here next week.
What? The guy who...
He apologized.
Is it going to make money?
It's going to make lots of money.
You can tell we're an up-and-coming city because we love to celebrate Pride.
From exactly June 1st to July 1st at midnight.
Then the rainbow crosswalks get covered up.
They're tax write-offs. Oh, we shouldn't say that. We care. So we're actually building a series of parks here for the children.
Oh, these will make great homeless shelters at night for the homeless
No, stop. You can't say that. Don't say that. Don't say homeless.
But you deforested.
No, stop saying you can't say deforested.
But we removed a lot of trees.
We're building a healthy amount of opportunities here for families.
For who? The homeless people or the dead animals you killed?
No, stop it. Deforestation and homelessness. Do you want to be reelected?
So yeah, they did part 2. It was really funny, and I think again, there's commentary in the comedy. Quite on. It's hard to like not see how much real commentary is in there. But yeah, y'all are asking all these questions like it's crazy. Yeah. It does. So seriously, so I'm using that as like a little segue. Like, so what is the intention for Charleston? I think I asked this when we were watching the city council recognize Doha and whatnot. So I found down a rabbit hole yesterday. I'm gonna close the newspaper up. Let me close that up. All right. So I fell down a little bit of a rabbit hole yesterday in trying to learn more about Anita Zucker. Let me just let y'all see a little bit of who Anita Zucker is, just from her mouth, and then we'll start connecting some dots about her influence and what it's starting to look like. And honestly, we're going to spend a lot of time on a member of her family too, because Lord Jesus, I'm sitting here reading till literally 9:30, and reading with my mouth open. Like, who knew the connections were like this? You really do need that chart. You need like a diagram. You need something. But this is from the Post and Courier last year. Full disclosure, they asked me to be a part of this. I'm like, fuck no. I didn't say that. Shout out to Michaela Porter, but I was like, nah. Shout out to I'm sure there was some women that I do like and admire involved in it, but I didn't want to be a part of the Post and Courier's propaganda like they give a fuck about women or black women. This is horrible effects from a Pulitzer Prize winning paper. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, definitely I'm glad I said no. So We the Women, and they were celebrating what, I'm glad. So it was presented by Anita Zucker's, this is Anita Zucker's company, y'all. So when you see this, think Anita Zucker, right? I see the Democrats are there too. Yeah. Let's let it play.
The Intertek Group and the Zucker family are proud to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment.
All right, let's read this together. The Intertek Group concentrates on giving back in areas that can enhance the human experience, including education, health, and human needs, the environment, and the arts. And this is exactly, this is exactly where I kind of want to have this conversation go. So what does it mean? And I think that we've talked about this, right? How philanthrocapitalism specifically, but philanthropy is used to disguise a lot of maybe disguise or obscure the power and interest and money behind certain initiatives, behind certain policies, behind certain ordinances. You can go on and on. And this is what I think, not just Anita, right? And many people of influence and power, but Anita Zucker and Intertek have done this like chef's kiss. Like, they are masterful at blurring this line between philanthropy and out political influence, right? Right. Yes, that is named after her. Yes, exactly. And Kia, you've got it. Her husband, I think. Yeah.
Welcome to We the Women. This is our celebration of the 19th Amendment. Exactly 100 years ago, on August 18th, 1920, the 19th Amendment.
So from what I read yesterday, Autumn right here, she was the managing editor. I think she became managing editor. You can't see. You can't see behind my camera
exactly
here.
100 years ago, on August 18th, 1920.
She's the new Mitch. So she took over as the editor-in-chief, I believe, at the Post and Courier.
The 19th Amendment was ratified, giving women the right to vote. To celebrate, we'll be talking to women from around South Carolina, thought leaders, movers and shakers. We'll ask them about how they have used their voice and what they have done to contribute to our great democracy. Enjoy the conversation.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Emily, for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Definitely. Just excited to have these conversations. Just first of all, how are you doing during this time?
Well, I'm fine. It's very hard to work from home, I've decided. As much as in the future I may continue to work part-time from home, it's hard to spend the day just in a chair sitting. And I don't like that, because at work I have a stand-up desk and I haven't been able to bring one to my home to convert the way I work. And so that part's been hard. It's hard on my body. And I do try to work out. The food, unfortunately, working at home gets in the way.
I can't imagine a billionaire being inconvenient. Like, right? You just took, you can't afford a second. Like, first, can we just time out? She's a whole billionaire. Like, she's a whole billion. Why are they acting like she's just like the former dean at CFC? She's a whole ass billionaire whose company is sponsoring this series, this conversation series. Like, there's some immediate red flags from the paper. Like, and shout out to Emily. I've been enjoying Emily's reporting, specifically in the business section. But
and that's been sort of a tough thing for me, but I do every day try to do some.
Right, the sound. Okay, you're not talking about my sound. You're talking about the sound, right? It is low. It is low. Can y'all hear it?
Size, and so that's helped. Yeah. That's helped.
I think all of us who are switching to that work from home format are going through that. I know the food thing I can relate to.
It's been hard. Yeah, I'm just happy my dress is on me.
Yes. Well, I wanted to start just by asking about your early career. So, of course, you're a CEO now, but I was wondering what was your first experience with entrepreneurship?
So you may not be aware of this, but I was married at 18. And Jerry and I were entrepreneurs from the start. And so while we were in college, we both worked as well. And we had to have full-time paying jobs, or part-time paying jobs, I should say. But what
I'm sorry, and shout out to Emily, but I want to see a seasoned journalist that know how to talk to a woman. Like, you talking to real power. I know it's supposed to be a fluff piece and it's not supposed to be confrontational or it's not investigative reporting, but like the key, the he, I don't know. It just turns me off. I know it's supposed to be we the women, yeah. But this is just, and she's not some humble, like, I don't understand.
We actually had two businesses that we sort of ran on the side. We had a deli, and the deli only served lunch.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Wikipedia because I'm getting frustrated. Yeah, Zucker, Wicca. Let me tell you something too. Some of these wealthy people have scrubbed the fuck out of the internet. Like, they've scrubbed the shit out of the internet. Like, okay, so I did, and also I told y'all yesterday I was going to research Sister Cities International. Can't find a speck of bad shit on it. Not a speck. They have bought all the Google AdWords. I mean, I wasn't just using Google either. And but what I understood about, and this is going to play into this conversation about Anita Zucker too, right? Because she figures prominently in the Doha, Qatar, sister city. Not so much the sister city, perhaps, but I don't think that us being paired. I don't think that Charleston being paired with Doha, Qatar was a coincidence. I don't think that was a random pairing. I think this is the conclusion I came to. Sister Cities International enjoys a very positive public profile. I went back to early 2000s, New York Times. They're everywhere. They're in Illinois, they're in Florida, they're in Washington, they're everywhere. They enjoy a very uniformly positive, I guess, image. That's who they are. But I don't think that the Doha connection was a coincidence, and I'm going to show you that because the Zucker family is very interesting. Again, this is not a conversation about faith, but faith will factor into this conversation. Okay, so Anita Zucker, born 51, 52. They don't. That's interesting. Why is it ambiguous? I'm telling you, they scrub stuff. American billionaire, businesswoman, and philanthropist. Philanthrocapitalism is her specialty, y'all. I'm just keeping it real. She was the chair of Hudson's Bay Company, taking over after her husband's death. She is now the chairperson and CEO of the Intertek Group. She is the wealthiest person to reside in the state of South Carolina. So Post and Courier was sitting down with the wealthiest individual in South Carolina, and she's complaining about not having a stand-up desk in her opulent, I'm assuming opulent home, right? But that's part of it, right? I'm just like you, right? Okay, born Anita Goldberg Zucker is the daughter of Holocaust survivors. Respect to the dead, respect to those for sure. I'm the daughter of Jim Crow refugees and the daughter of enslaved Africans. So completely feel that. We're not going to even, that ain't even an issue. We ain't even going there. Zucker is the daughter of Holocaust survivors. That's hugely heartbreaking to know that. So after moving with her husband Jerry to Charleston in 1978, coincides with Riley's rise to fame too, right? The couple launched Intertek in 1982. She is the widow of Jerry Zucker and took over his role as chairman CEO. We just read that. He died in 2008, right? She owns the Carolina Ice Palace, and she owns the Stingrays hockey team. All right, in July of 2019, she is the 962nd richest person, in the world. So she was, down from, oh, wow, look how the wealth keep hoarding wealth. So she was in the top 500 wealthiest people in the world. Now she's in the top 1,000 wealthiest people in the world. That changed in 2018. She is the 215th richest in the United States. Estimated wealth of about $2 billion, y'all see it right here. All right, this is what you need to pay attention to, okay? Her children, not Jonathan, not now, not today's live stream. Andrea, you see Andrea's last name? Andrea's married. She's married to a man named with the last name Muzin. Okay, we gonna get into this. So her son-in-law, right? And so here it is. Zucker's a member of the Republican Party. So this other thing too, I think a lot of people think Anita Zucker is like apolitical. Oh no. Oh no. Especially after knowing what her son-in-law is involved with. Zucker is a member of the Republican Party. She endorsed Mitt Romney in January 2012, a financial supporter of Lindsey Graham. All right, she was a co-chair in South Carolina of Jeb Bush's campaign for Republican Party nomination. That's very interesting. All right, here's the philanthropy, right? Zucker is part of the Coastal Community Foundation, First Red Flag, all right, and Try the United Way. Trustee of the Saul Alexander Foundation and the Jewish, I didn't mean to do that. And the Jewish, SI, right? I got y'all in the chat. Where we at? Okay. Trustee Saul Alexander Foundation and the Jewish Endowment Fund. And she has served on the boards of Charleston Metro Chamber of Commerce and MUSC Foundation. We talked about this. You can't talk about development. You can't talk about TIF districts without talking about the foundation complex here in Charleston. Featured prominently among them is MUSC's foundation, which helped with Mayor Riley in 79. Well, not in 79, but in the early 80s, start the Horizon Foundation, which is now West Edge. So you can't talk about real estate acquisition. You can't talk about big land deals, development, policies around development, policies around city planning and the vision for Charleston. You cannot talk about that without recognizing how these foundations factor in prominently into this conversation. Okay, so she served on all those boards. That's why board construction matters. That's why when you go to a nonprofit, whether it be Charleston Wine and Food or whether it be Try the United Way, look at the board. If you see the board, if you can see the makeup of the board, then you understand the money. If you understand the money, you'll understand the outcomes and the policies that might be coming through that philanthropic work, if that makes any sense. Okay, all right, so let's hop out of her situation. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. I saw a side from Little Mama. Yeah. After being in the nonprofit industrial complex in Charleston, she is assumed to be a Dem. Exactly. Everyone thinks she's a Democrat. She's not. I think I've seen people say that, and I'm like, and I understand how money works too. Money is very nonpartisan. So to that point, right? So I started off with the funny hee hee ha ha video of like up and coming city vibes, but I had to ask myself a question when I chose to move back to Charleston and be closer to my aging parents. A part of the draw was, it looks like Charleston is emerging as a tech hub, right? This is me before I had any really profound analysis. Kind of was wooed in by the tourism. Like I imagine that, even though I was coming back and visiting my mom and my pops quite regularly, even though I wasn't a stranger to South Carolina at all, even, lived my 10 years in Philly, right? And my 5 years in undergrad, I still was like, I thought I knew Charleston, but see, living here, living here, paying taxes, working here is way different from coming and visiting and just, and I know, I think we all know that, but I really understood how bamboozled I was getting. So this is an article that I found last night. Winner take most new tech hubs won't rise without big changes. And while I won't read the entire thing, I think it's important to kind of look at some of these observations lifted up in the first few paragraphs here, right? And then again, you understand more about, maybe refresh, our relationship with other countries, other cities, other regions. What does it mean? What are we striving for? What is this vision? What is this vision that Anita, I'm gonna keep using it. What is this vision? I'm gonna keep doing it because I like it. What is this vision that Ms. Zucker has, for us? And again, I'm gonna beg more questions than I'm gonna answer, right? So what is the vision? What is the goal? What is the city supposed to look like? Who is it supposed to be friendly to, right? All right. In the chat, Jessica, you said you responded to Megzi. Megzi said, Megzi, after studying voter behavior, it's unusual for Jewish people to identify as Republicans. Right. Megzi, you're right. My grandmother is a Dem, but several of her kids who have done very well in business in New York vote conservative. Look at Jared Kushner, right? Look at that, like that kind of new, it is bizarre, right? Megzi, I grew up the same way with the same type of understanding. So I arrived at that conclusion too, right? So peep this. So as we were talking about Doha yesterday, we talking about how we saw Mayor Tecklenburg read off a proclamation recognizing Doha. It came to my attention. Well, we knew that there have been delegations from Qatar here. We knew there have been delegations not just here in Charleston, but throughout the state, wooing the likes of Lindsey Graham, Congressman Rice, so on and so forth. That's been a practice that's not secret. The Daily Beast has reported on it. Warren Wise and David Wren at the Post and Courier have reported on it. It's not a secret, right? The Mother Jones has reported on it, and we're gonna get to that right now. We're gonna get that in a second. So the thing that came to my attention yesterday was just how. So we saw the mayor read the proclamation. Then, without any type of preface, we saw Anita Weiss, the CEO of Sister Cities, whatever. We saw her take to the mic and just applaud the mayor. And then we saw a series of people go up there and champion the Greenbelt project and really stress that the portion of land next to the airport, Johns Island Airport. We saw all of that, right? And I'm like, what is this guy? What's going on? So then I see, let me see. We're going to get to these today. So then we learn that this was posted, wait, hold on. Make sure I don't do that. Now I want to keep that open. And I want to open this. Money, cash, drones. Okay, I wanted to open this. So this is Doha's. This is from that region, right? So this news is this is the Gulf Times, right? Doha and U.S. city of Charleston signed twinning agreement. So this is reported back in October 22nd, 2019. All right. So what you see here is Mayor Tecklenburg, and you see the ambassador of Qatar here. I am gonna mess up his name, y'all. So I ain't gonna try it, but that's the ambassador from Qatar here. You see right here. Back in the background, let me make it a little bit bigger. That's Anita Weiss, who was at City Council congratulating the mayor on congratulating Doha, Sister Cities International, right? And then you have Congress. Then you have Councilman Shealy here as well. Shealy, we know Shealy, Rossapel, and Shahid are all a part of the Sister Cities program, right? We learned that yesterday. So this is the signing this in 2019. This is no secret. This is in City Hall chambers, right? Not really reported on like that, not locally, right? Then let me see. Trying to get the right one. Hold up. Sister Cities, y'all. I want to get the one with the Nah, not this one. This is from the website. Shout out to Kia yesterday who dropped the website, Charleston Sister Cities International. All right, so this is more footage from that meeting. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So I want to pop this open. And then I'm going to pop this open. So let's read this first. And I ain't going to pay this, like charging you $12.50 to read this whole thing. But this was printed in September 17, 2021, right? So this is the headline. Qatari defense minister to travel to U.S. with arms procurement in mind. So we already know there's a spy drone being built on Johns Island, right? As reported by the Post and Courier. So this I believe is part of the interest. So it says Qatari Defense Minister Khalid bin Mohammed, I can't say it, Al Attiyah. Let me try. Al Attiyah is expected in South Carolina in around 6 weeks. So count from September 17th. So that's like it's coming up in a couple weeks, right? In about 6 weeks' time for the inauguration ceremony of a factory for Barzan Holdings, right? Barzan, remember Barzan Aeronautical, right? Headquartered or has the office on Meeting Street, right? So the inauguration ceremony of a factory for Barzan Holdings U.S., subsidiary of Barzan Aerospace, a perfect opportunity to push forward key arms procurement projects, right? Then look at this. So we saw Mayor Tecklenburg in city council chambers, in city of Charleston chambers, signing the Declaration of Understanding between Doha. But look at who in the room here? Who in the room here? Now who we see in the back? I'm telling you, this is like the Where's Waldo of policy. Like seriously, the Where's Waldo of policy here. So this is the Declaration of Understanding. Doha and the city of Charleston, South Carolina have signed. And the thing is, you can't really find reporting on Anita's influence here. You can't find, that's the one thing out of pouring over, I reread at least 3 articles from either David Wren or Warren Wise, and you don't see Zucker, you don't see Anita Zucker featured in it, but she's there. Even when she's not there, she's there, right? So this, and I don't even know where this, they don't even describe where this is at, like specifically. It's in the area, but they don't really outline where it's at, right? So Charleston, South Carolina, Doha, Qatar. This is why I think that the Sister Cities International pairing of Doha with Charleston, that wasn't a coincidence. I think other people in other cities, or I think in other instances, the pairings are somewhat random, but they're not. I think someone lobbied specifically for Doha to be a sister city. And while I think that the Sister Cities International is not a bad actor in here, I can't find anything negative. They have bought all the Google AdWords, y'all. I can't even find a critical thesis on them. I can't even find a grad student. I can't find anything on them. So let's just, for the sake of that, I haven't found anything. I'm going to take them at their word. They are all about encouraging diplomacy. They're following out on Eisenhower's vision of diplomacy and local cities being more global. That's the basic intention of Sister Cities International, right? So let's take them at their word, since I can't find anything that says the opposite. But what I think is that there was some very key, some lobbying done to make sure that Doha and Charleston not had cover per se, but I think Sister Cities International, whether they know it or not, is providing cover, or at least helping to kind of camouflage a lot of the deals that is going on, featuring the Zucker family. Okay, that's how I'm gonna put it. Okay, D, you said she moves very quietly. She does. I wonder if there's any animosity between Zucker and Charleston wooing folks from an era. I was looking for that too. But even if you see, no. But D, with the reporting specifically from the Daily Beast and other places, I'm telling, all of the Republicans want oil money, just like we saw with Trump. So they have strategically positioned South Carolina as an ally. If you look at McMaster, nothing negative about Afghanistan. Think about the proclamation that Tecklenburg just read off. Oh, you did all these great things over in Afghanistan, bringing our people back from Afghanistan. They've been working forever. This is going way back. We've been welcoming delegations from Doha for a minute now, right? here in the state and in the Low Country. So they have already kind of, just like with Trump and the Saudis, they've already made sure to strike up this very strategic relationship where they're not fear mongering. They're not talking about Islam. That's all part of it too, because there's a lobbyist function, a Jewish lobbyist function. And this is not me saying it. There's a Jewish faction that's been working very hard to smooth out relationships between these oil-rich nations and this oil-rich region and us here, right? That's why you got the Qataris buying up key real estate, all of that with the airport and all that other stuff, right? So I think Sister Cities International is providing some sort of cover, because you cannot find any direct, I can't. And I was not on Google. So let's keep an eye out for this. In a couple of weeks, let's see if the Qatari defense minister travels to Charleston. Let's see if he travels and meets with Summy with the aviation board. So that's Summy, that's Mayor Tecklenburg, that's Mayor Haney, that's Helen Hill, and it might be Anita Zucker might be all up and through there, right? So let's keep an eye on that, right? Because Barzin is right there, headquarters on Meeting Street, right? Boom. Anita Zucker, not even mentioned. I don't even think she mentioned. Is she mentioned in here? Let me see. You got McMaster in here. The governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, hosted a dinner in honor of the delegation. So to your question, D, the governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, hosted a dinner in honor of the delegation of the state of Qatar, attended by a number of business and community leaders. Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman, I can't say, Al Thani, held a roundtable with a number of senior politicians and business leaders from the state to discuss ways to enhance cooperation, right? The minister also toured Boeing's facility in Charleston. During the tour, he was accompanied by CEO of Qatar Airways Group. Okay. We got a direct flight from Charleston to Qatar yet? Right? All right. So this is that, right? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna close this out. So we got Anita there just in the background, chilling, looking like, you know what I mean, ain't nothing going on here, ain't nothing to see. But it is, right? So then to the earlier question that Megzian knows, we're talking about like the whole, usually we associate folks of Jewish faith with voting more liberal, right? And the same thing, I grew up in Jersey. We had everything from Orthodox Jewish populations to all kinds of like just different types of Judaism practice, friends and all that stuff, right? Right. So we've seen all that. Good morning, Joy. Right. So to that point, right? You're like, why? How has this happen? So I read this story last night, blew my mind. I'm not being hyperbolic. Blew my mind. This man right here on the right, this is Anita Zucker's son-in-law, right? Okay. Let me blow this all the way the fuck up. All right. This is her son-in-law. You want to know what else her son-in-law does or did? This is all about money and power. This is her son-in-law. Look at this. I don't know who wrote this. This is the Times of Israel. I'm trying not to violate BDS too, y'all. I'm trying. All right. So black senators. So this is Times of Israel. Black senators' secret weapon, an Orthodox Jew. No thanks. An Orthodox Jew from Canada is what they wrote, right? Yeshiva University trained Dr. Nick Muzin has played a key role. This is back in 2013. Has played a key role in guiding the career of rising GOP star Tim Scott. So this is Anita Zucker's son-in-law, Nick. All right, Nick is very smart, y'all. Nick is very smart, very intelligent. We talking Yale, we talking Yeshiva. All right, so here's okay. It says on Saturday, and he's an Orthodox Jew from Canada, right? He's Jewish, Orthodox, right? On Saturday night following Shabbat, Nick Muzin arrayed on his dining room table with, what would turn out to be the winning strategy to elect the first black Republican to Congress from South Carolina. right? So that's the relationships. He was Tim Scott's former chief of staff, right? And he's largely credited with getting him his victory, right? So how did, he met Tim Scott. You were talking about, he went to medical school, he went to law school, but then when you go to, when you go to Nick's Wikipedia page, right? When you go to Nick's Wikipedia page, you realize, okay, what happened? So Nicholas, this is his full name, Nicholas David Muzin, Canadian-American Republican political strategist. Look at that, that's a mouthful. Is a Canadian-American Republican political strategist, attorney, and physician. He was a paid consultant for the nation of Qatar. Okay? Prior to that, he served as the director of coalitions for the United States House Republican Conference, right? All right. And was the senior advisor and deputy chief of staff for Republican candidate for president of the United States, Senator Ted Cruz. After 2016 elections, he went to work on work as a lobbyist. This is the juicy part. Not Ted Cruz, not Tim Scott. The juicy part is he went on to work as a lobbyist, filing and registering under FARA. I don't know, as a foreign agent, right? The first for the Democratic Opposition Party of Albania, right? Here's a life right here, early life. Muzin was raised in a Jewish family in Toronto, Ontario, right? Okay. Father was president of a construction distribution supply company. Education, Muzin attended Yeshiva High School in Toronto. After spending some time post-high school at the Talmudical Yeshiva of Philadelphia, he attended Yeshiva University in Washington Heights, a section of Manhattan. Y'all know that whole story. We're going to talk about Washington Heights and Orthodox Judaism. We're going to talk about that one day, future. It's very complicated. All right. While there, he served as the editor-in-chief at school newspaper, The Commentator, right? Graduated in 1997. Muzin completed Albert Einstein College of Medicine, the full 4-year school scholarship, right? Super smart. So he went from med school, then he went to Yale Law School. So this is a smart man. Right? And we're going to get to the personal, right? In 2000, Muzin supported Al Gore and Joe Lieberman ticket, right? All right. He joined George W. Bush's 2004 re-election campaign as a counsel for Republican National Committee, right? RNC, right? And get to the personal life. Well, we missed some Cutter stuff here, right? Recent business. Where's the personal life? We just saw his personal life. Where did I see it last night? Where he met Zucker. There was a timeline. I don't know if I'm just missing it or not. There was a timeline that described when he met Anita Zucker, right? Maybe it was in that article that I closed. Right? Let me see what y'all saying. Personal life, one sentence. Yeah, it was more than that. I don't know where I saw that. Oh, here. Well, hey, I guess this right here. Personal life, one sentence. Orthodox Jew. I thought it was more. I thought I saw more somewhere. In 2006, he married Andrea Michelle Zucker, daughter of Anita Zucker and Jerry Zucker. Right. So that's what you have in 2006 is when he met, and that's when Anita started working her magic. Right. Oh, you're great. Oh, you're great. Da 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 da. Right. And he is like, oh wow, yeah, my daughter probably da da da. All right. But then let me get back to so we know now that he's an operative. So for those who don't know, there are people who move like this. Usually it's usually political operatives. He's a lobbyist. Let me clarify. Nick Muzin is a lobbyist, but I think there were some operative vibes in there, to use a phrase that I just made up, in that usually operatives, no, they're not wedded to any one party. They're mercenaries. And there are certain operatives that are mercenaries that just can pull your campaign together no matter where they fall on the political spectrum. Money is the motive. And so they kind of are like a hired hand. So Nick had those kind of vibes, and that's the kind of, even with Anita Zucker, you could argue those are the kind of vibes, right? Thank y'all for telling me to scroll down. I moved too fast. Thank y'all for telling me. Keep telling me to scroll down and scroll up. Even if I miss it, I'll go back. All right. So then I saw this story. Oh, this story was amazing. But no. This one This is the one that blew. So this is Nick right here, and this is another dude. This is dude right here. They wrote 2 pieces on him. He's the king of New York kosher restaurants, right? Another Jewish fellow here, right? So this piece was like, how did the king of New York kosher restaurants help Qatar win over American Jewish leaders? I did a quick sloppy search about Jewish lobbyists in Qatar, and I came up with this. It's a point of contention. It's a point of contention among so many like more orthodox members of the more orthodox branch of the faith, right? I'm gonna go to the criticism right now. Another like Israel-based source. I'm just presenting it. Y'all can, but this right here was some pointed criticism here, right? So this was back in 2019. Qatar shows 2 faces to the world, right? This piece was to me, I would characterize it as scathing, right? Because it talks about, I'm gonna just scroll down. Let me read the first sentence and then I'm gonna scroll down. It's really tiny. Let me make it a little larger so at least y'all can get what I'm trying to say. All right, on some basic level. Okay. All right, and this is the pro-Israel stance. We're not going there. We just presenting to you how their side of the story, and then we're going to go back to the Mother Jones reporting. So I'm acknowledging that there are a lot of things here to unpack. We ain't unpacking all that. We got to carry on. Here we got a duffel, all right, filled with cash. All right. So it says 4 Israelis were buried earlier this month in the wake of nearly 1,000 rockets Hamas and the Islamic Jihad fired. So they come out the gate. They come out the gate letting you know what time it is, okay? So they're talking about 1,000 rockets coming from Hamas, right? Islamic Jihad fired on Israeli's population, right? So they're characterizing, they're making an argument how that faction is connected to Qatar, right? Not going there, right? Not for the sake of this argument and expedience, not because I don't want to, not because I'm afraid to. This is just, I'm not doing that today. Amid the back and forth, it appeared an Israeli group invasion was imminent. There's no country in the world that would allow such threat on its borders. Yet a ceasefire between Israel and the terror groups negotiated in part by Qatar seems to be holding, at least temporarily. Then you scroll down to this piece, right? I'm trying to find it. Oh, they went in. Hold up. Let me just do the fine thing. All right, we're going to do Muzin. Okay, here we go. So then they talk about the tension between Qatar and Israeli government, right? So they talk about endowments, they talk about other financial interests, but then here it says recruiting Muzin and Alaham, okay? So this is Anita Zucker's son-in-law. All right. So when the diplomatic war with Saudi Arabia intensified in the summer of 2017, Qatar likely recognized the need for more air cover in Washington. Let me read that again. When the diplomatic war with Saudi Arabia intensified in the summer of 2017, Qatar likely recognized the need for more air cover in Washington. What better way than getting Jewish lobbyists to persuade influential Jewish community leaders to soften their stances on Qatar. All right, the effort culminated in a successful influence operation, American lobbyists and agents, right? Let me read it again. The effort culminated in a successful influence operation, American lobbyists and agents, specifically Stonington Strategies, run by former kosher steakhouse owner Joey Alaham, okay, and former deputy chief of staff for Senator Ted Cruz, Nick Muzin, carried out with Qatari money, okay, and goes back into his background. Grew up in Toronto, Jewish community there, right? Med school. This is where I learned about it. He completed med school in the Bronx before switching gears, turning to law school at Yale after marriage to Andrea Michelle Zucker, the daughter of Charleston billionaires. Billionaires, Anita and Jerry Zucker. He soon became involved in South Carolina politics. He helped then Charleston City Councilman Tim Scott get elected. Was he city councilman first? I wasn't here, y'all. Y'all had to help me out. I really don't. I have a blind spot. He helped Tim Scott elected in Washington, first to the House of Representatives, then to state, then to Senate, right? So they talk about that here, right? And they talk about how this is weird. They talk about like how this is weird. They had this, what do they call it? What do they call it right here? An influence operation of lobbyists. So then hop over here to Mother Jones. Y'all tracking with me? This too much. This too deep. Right? So, Al, you think it's crazy when they go to both? I think it is. All right. So 2 lobbyists known for helping Qatar, excuse me, let me say Qatar. I like saying Qatar. All right. 2 lobbyists known for helping Qatar curry favor among allies of President Donald Trump received nearly $4 million. What is this? Okay. Received $4 million from a mysterious PR firm that appears to be tied to the Qatari government. Another indication that a shadow war in the Middle East has taken root in D.C., in the D.C. swamp. So this is back in, let me get the date right. This is 2019, January 2019. So early 2019, right? So it goes on to say Nick Muzin and Joey Allingham, I read this whole thing last night with my jaw open, have previously attracted attention for their unconventional lobbying in the United States for Qatar. This work involved courting 250 people they believed could influence Trump's view of the small Gulf state and earn them more than $3 million, right? But filings submitted to the federal government reveal that Stonington Strategies, we talked about, that was the Israeli-based paper or Israeli-based media outlet, said the same thing. Government revealed that Stonington Strategies, a firm using runs, received $3.9 million in payments in the fall of 2017, y'all. $4 million in the fall of 17 for work related to Qatar. So let me just back it up a little bit. Okay? So again, I'm begging the question, this is great, y'all saying, so seeing how this son-in-law, he didn't just, y'all saw how he was raised, right? Toronto, the Bronx, Canada, the Shiva. How the hell you get down here? Not just get down to South Carolina. You're deputy chief of staff or chief of staff with Tim Scott. All right, you marry into the richest family in South Carolina, right? What does that mean? And then you see Barzin Aeronautical. You see how many years he's been lobbying, untraditional lobbying. Even Israeli folks is like, yo, what's going on? Like, what is this? What, like, how y'all Orthodox, but y'all actually out here smoothing over the image of Qatar and other, like, maybe some nations that have done things that the Israelis don't care for, right? They're asking, like, and I'm asking the same questions, like, how do you do both? How do you do both? How do these interests compromise how decisions are made or the decision-making process? Decisions that are either shaped by, led by, steered, engineered by Ms. Zucker. And so while I'm spending a lot of time on Nick, because that's where the money, like, this is, you talking $7 million total. When you keep reading the story, so we stopped at $3.9 million in payments, right, in the fall of 2017 related to work for Qatar. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Using a former top aide, Senator Ted Cruz, got reported paying $2.3 million of that sum to a look at this shell shit, to a consulting company set up by Allingham. That's the Kosher King in New York, right? Set up by Allingham, who once owned several high-end kosher restaurants in New York City, right? These recently revealed payments highlight the unusual and lucrative work that Muzin and Allingham did for Qatar, a natural gas-rich state that has eagerly sought help from plugged-in lobbyists as Qatari government has engaged in a fierce competition for influence in Washington against a coalition of regional neighbors. The leading members of the coalition, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, have enlisted an army of their own lobbyists. We know that. They all over here, y'all. I'm telling you, all of it. All right. In 2 submissions to the Justice Department required by Foreign Agents Registration Act, Muzin declares that $3.9 million in payment came from Blue Fort, commit that name to memory, Blue Fort Public Relations, LLC, right? A firm that claims on its website to have offices in Doha, the Qatari capital, as well as London and Washington. The filing says that over the course of the contract with Blue Fort, the lobbyists arranged senior level introductions, right? Arranged trips, foster dialogue between American and Qatari companies. Okay. I'm gonna close that out. Right? So this is not a coincidence. This is I mean, what we're seeing here in Charleston is not a coincidence. All right? So when let me bring it right back up. So when we see his mother-in-law, right, featured right here in the background, now we see that this is not just oligarchy vibes, right? No, thank you, D, again. Thank you for gifting the sub. But like, this is really, really interesting. And I have questions. I don't have any answers, y'all. I have questions, right? Is the sister cities pairing with us in Doha, is it coincidental, or was some lobbying done to help obscure some other relationships, to kind of help sweep up the unorthodox type of lobbying efforts, right? I closed down the damn article that I was reading from. Okay, we'll just keep going. And the other part that I didn't read, right? The title of the article is Qatari lobbyists receive millions through shadow firm. And then here you go right here. The firm is affiliated with the company tied to the World Cup corruption scandal. Remember that? Sports fans, y'all might have seen it. You might have been on Outside the Line special on ESPN. All right. Blue Fort appears to have acted as a conduit for lobbying payments. So this is how they washing his money, right? All right, but it's hard to pin where the money originated. On its bare bones website, Blue Fort Public Relations does not list any of its officers, owners, clients, employees, nothing. Shadow firm. An inquiry sent to an email address went unanswered, right? Right, but all these connections are cutter, right? So let me fast forward to let me bring back to Anita. If I said Linda, please forgive me. All right, so let's get back to Anita. Cause I'm like, okay, all right, so she hooked her son-in-law up with some key, made some introductions, and he kind of like took off from there, right? Just took off from there, right? What were you saying about Spark? That's where I was at. Spark on Clemens Ferry. That's where I went when I first. Was that just a sudden train of thought? So then I'm like, okay, so maybe, it's just a coincidence. Her son is influential. Maybe she got some, I don't know if she's an architect. I don't know nothing, but this is some great news. We saw that she sits on the board of Try United Way. You also see like in YouTube videos, you see Anita, where she keynote speaker Trident Tech. Let's just play a little bit of this.
I want to say congratulations to each of you, not only for the accomplishments that allowed you to create a scholarship or to be.
It says Trident Tech College Area Commissioner and keynote speaker Anita Zucker.
Become a recipient of a scholarship, but for your decision to not allow the challenges of your lives to define who you are, who you will become. Congratulations for your commitment to yourself, each of you, and for making the brave decision to never tolerate mediocrity.
To never tolerate mediocrity. Girl, you been to Charleston? Right. All right. So that was cute. I'm like, okay, she's at Trident Tech. Let me read the caption. This is 2017. Anita Zucker, Trident Tech College Commission, congratulates scholarship recipients. That's really good. Nice little luncheon, blah, 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 right? So you look at this like, oh, this is dope. Oh, shoot. Bars and Aeronautical. Here we go to Qataris again, right? It says right here, it says South Carolina. Can I make it bigger? That's what she said. All right, the South Carolina Aeronautical, I can't read it from here. The South Carolina Aeronautical Training Center will help sustain the state's economic expansion by supplying highly skilled workforce from requiring manufacturers and industries, right? This is from Trident College. That's Mary Thornley, the president of Trident College, right? It says the $80 million, 218,000 square foot facility includes a ramp, 2 hangars, and high bays to accommodate large aircraft training aids, 22 classrooms, blah, 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 blah. Right? Right? That's real interesting. It looks dope. Look at this right here, okay? South Carolina Aeronautical Training Center to support the state's growing. This is all like the help with Boeing, right? Help more manufacturers, all this other stuff, right? It says to support South Carolina's growing advanced manufacturing cluster. Now, when you first saw Boeing come to Charleston, what did you hear all the time? Oh, we need to have the education pipeline improved. Hold on. Oh, we need to have the education pipeline. Hold on, I'm gonna get my headphones right. We need to have the education pipeline improve, blah, 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 right? That's what, but to me, when people say that, it's like other stuff, it's other opportunities happening here. So this is the new South Carolina aeronautical spot. Y'all see the name? Y'all see the name? Let me see if I can. Nope. Did y'all see the name on the building? Who name was on that building? Can y'all see it? Blue's Clues this. There you go. Zucker Hall. That's interesting, right? So boom. So then I find, or someone helps me find, and I find this. This is great. Zucker Hall, Trident Tech. Trident Tech College advances high-tech manufacturing and aeronautics through industry partnerships. This was from July, early this year, July 2021, right? There you go. Zucker Hall right here. All right, let's blow it up. And I'm like, okay, what's this? Boom. What's the second paragraph? Boom. So I got questions. What we doing? What we doing here? With Bars and Aeronautical, with the Doha, with the Qatari delegation. What we doing here? Trident Technical College has been chosen as the inaugural partner for Bars and Aeronautical Center of Excellence. The Bars and Aeronautical Center of Excellence, providing a unique opportunity for students and staff. The center will be located at the Bars and Aeronautical site on Johns Island. So Zucker Hall, y'all, is coming to my family's backyard. Okay? Okay? Okay. All right. Bars and Aeronautical will sponsor an international faculty and student exchange between Trident Tech and Qatar Aeronautical College based in Doha. I got questions. What we doing? Right? Anybody else got? Joy. I actually was gonna put that in the you are on it. I was gonna put that in the subject line of the newsletter. I know there's a typo in there. I spelled actually wrong. Caught it after I sent it. That's what I get for doing it without my glasses on. I was gonna put something like this. I'm like, what a mother Zucker, but I didn't want someone to. I got when I did shitty philanthropy and I put the poop emoji in the. I got some unsubscribes and some feedback. Because apparently saying shitty philanthropy and blurting out the I was just too profane. Inappropriate content is what I was told. All right, so I didn't want to do Mother Zucker, so I say what the actual Zuck. So that's where I stuck it at right there, right? I just got questions though, right? She got that smile though. That's $1 billion. I'd be smiling too if I had a pillowcase full of billions of dollars to sleep on. What? I don't have my standing desk. Girl, please. Girl, You probably own shares in like all the standing desk companies and manufacturers around the world. I don't have a standing desk. Girl, go somewhere. As if you couldn't just be bewitched, wiggle your nose or snap your fingers and get that desk to appear in that house. Get out of here. That's all she would have to do. Shit. That's an Amazon Prime. Literally. Get out of here. So anyway, this is when you think about like, okay, what's going on? Who is this being shaped for? I honestly don't know, y'all. I don't know, like, well, we do know that they are very much wedded to Qatari interests. They are very much, there seems to be a number of promises, being that, now go back to the Mother Jones piece, being that Nick has received $7 million total from the Qataris. So one would say that that type of price tag means that there has to be some deliverables, right? Right. I'm just going to keep reading about Anita Zucker's son-in-law. So Muzin and Alaham declined to answer questions for Mother Jones, but there's no reason for Muzin to register under the Foreign Agents Registry Act unless he believed the Qatari government could be considered a beneficiary of his lobbying work. So see, look at that. You didn't want to answer no questions, Nick, but by filing, and you made sure you didn't want to go to jail, right? You ain't trying to be Michael Flynn out here, even though they actually tried to work with Michael Flynn later on in this piece. You'll see it. But he actually tried to work with Michael Flynn. But Muzin and Alaham declined to answer questions. But there's no reason for Muzin to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act unless he believed the Qatari government could be considered a beneficiary of his lobbying work, right? So he did the right thing, but he's trying to act like he's not. Oh, I'm not really a lobbyist. Oh boy, please. An American investor who asked not to be named and who is among those cited by the lobbyist said Muzin and Alaham connected him to the Qatari Investment Authority, QIA. Oh my God, QIA. State-run wealth fund. So a Qatari state-run wealth fund, right? One of y'all could tell. I know I got undiagnosed dyslexia. Nobody can tell me this. One of the forms Muzin filed, in quotes, to the best of Stonington's knowledge, Blue Fort is a private firm that is incorporated in Qatar with offices in London and the UK and Washington, D.C., right? No, not this Spark Digital, D, to your question. No, not that. No. Spark, it's Spark something else. I think they even spelled with a Q or something. I forgot or C or something. Spark and Clemens Fair. It's not the same. All right. Spark Digital says on his LinkedIn, yada, yada, World Cup. Yeah, they get into some real sticky stuff here. But this was interesting. But going back to that whole, like, how this is weird that these Jewish lobbyists would be used to kind of like work for interests that are not necessarily in line with, I guess, their cultural or traditional political leanings in terms of like being pro-Israel. This is really curious. And I think some folks are asking those questions. I don't know how many questions. I think there have been a lot of contradictions, especially as we saw under the Trump administration with Jared Kushner's involvement in some of these deals, and Jared Kushner being charged with bringing about like what was a 2-state solution. He was supposed to bring about peace between the Israelis and Palestine. Yeah, right. And but the fact that Jared Kushner was key in the whole Saudi Arabia, key in China, key like all these interesting spaces that have conflicts with one another economically or military in a military way. It just was really weird, and I think that blurring of the line, I think we're going to see more of it. It's really hard to kind of differentiate folks as well. But I just thought this was really interesting, how Barnes and Aeronautical, how there might be a delegation coming here in a couple weeks. Again, I want to beg the question that this protocol piece, I want to beg similar questions that are lifted up here in this protocol piece about, like, tech hubs. I think tech, or even in this instance, this aeronautical field is akin to tech. I know we think of traditional tech startup with apps and things like that. I'm trying to pull up some articles from last night. Pull this one up. This is just funny. This is from July. It just so happened that Anita Zucker story right to the right of it about her investing in a bowling business that wasn't really great, but that was just a coincidence. But here, the third runway, 2 hangars, aircraft plant are in the works for Johns Island Airport. So this is written by Warren Wise. Let me pull up the actual article for it. Let me see if I got it. Downloads. Come on. That's the Mother Jones piece. I'm trying to find. There's so many pieces that I think this is another article. But it was a piece where Elliot Summey, I think it was that one. Elliot Summey was trying to be cute. This is from October, so this is fairly recent. October 5th, Charleston Airport pays $4 million for Johns Island. Right, so built 95 days near the end. Let me close this out. Built 95 days near the end of World War II. The airport on Johns Island was first called Johns Island Airfield Military Reservation. Got it. All right. The history is important, but not this morning. Right. All right. So I want to get to the deal. Okay. So this is October 5th, right? A developer has proposed in dividing the property called Oakville. Remember, during public comment, got a lot of people weighing in on this, right? Right? Who owns, it's 137 acres. Let me see. Let me go back to this. Okay, the Reliever Airport on Johns Island will grow by more than 100 acres after Charleston County Aviation Authority paid $4 million. So that's Summey, that's Tecklenburg, that's Helen Hill, that's a bunch of others, right? That's Mayor Haney. They all agreed to pay $4 million for the land where housing development was proposed. What kind of housing development was proposed? Affordable housing development was proposed? Public housing development was proposed? I don't know, but a housing development was proposed, and the agency is seeking conservation funding. So now you know why Coastal was all up and through there, sending people to the mic, right? Now you know why Coastal was at public comment, right? Now you get it, right? The agency bought 2 parcels totaling 137 acres at the end of August, right? Let me go back up to that sentence. All right, the housing development was proposed, and agency seeking conservation funding to reimburse 1/4 of the purchase price. The agency brought 2 parcels totaling 137 acres at the end of August from Dr. Keith Lackey and 8 others after several months of negotiations. According to, they got a windfall. I'm sure they bought that property for peanuts. I'm sure Dr. Lackey bought that property for peanuts, and they all probably got probably close to $1 million. It says 8 others, so of course that's not $1 million each, but whatever. All right, negotiations according to Charleston County land records. A developer had proposed dividing the property called Oakville Plantation off Burden Creek and River Roads into 242 lots for development to be called River Run. Okay, so it was Charleston Airport officials wanted to buy the land and to prevent a new home community from sprouting on the edge of the 1,333 acre Charleston Executive Airport next to the Stono River, right? The purchase would allow the Aviation Authority to consider revamping a taxiway that runs, talk about planes, talk about noise, y'all. Consider revamping a taxiway that runs north-south through the center of the airport by returning to its original use as a runway when the military built the airfield in World War II, blah, 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 blah. Somebody try to be cute here. Buying the land gives us a chance to extend the runway and protect the wetlands. You're right. You don't give a fuck about no goddamn wetlands. Protect the wetlands and clear the zone. You want the money. You want the reimbursement from the conservation. You want the reimbursement. Gotcha. Right. Clear the zone. Right. All right. So this is all making way for Barzin. Right. Greenbelt. Right. So I think somebody said that he didn't want to talk about in this piece. Did he say that? Citing like confidentiality. I think he did. In one piece, he said that he didn't want to talk about who the investors were. Right. The length of the runway, development strip, to help fund part of the land purchase, the South Carolina Conservation Bank awarded $500,000 to the Low Country Land Trust on September 22nd for an easement on 94 acres. An equal amount of money will be sought through the Charleston County Greenbelt program. We heard about that extensively at the latest city council meeting, okay? It will help us, this is according to Elliot Summy, right? The leader on the aviation board. It will help us pay back some of the money for buying the land. Exactly, that's what he wants. So they're using convenient conservation stuff. Y'all know conservation, preservation, roots in displacing black people, roots in redlining, roots in taking land from folks. Like, this is just a very strategic play that's complicated, that's beyond my understanding, but it's very I can see now how conservation works, because think about this. This is an airport. Now, I don't know what the carbon footprint, I don't know what I'm just assuming there's a bunch of private jets out here. So what are they purchasing certain parcels of land and keeping certain parcels of land under a conservation? Is that what y'all are getting to? So the conservation people are coming in here. They're using certain laws and trusts and money and whatever to purchase some of this land and to designate it as conservation. But they are also choosing to use part of that 137 acres to expand the airport to make room for bars and aeronautical. Is that, if anyone can help me with that, I would love it if that's how you distilled it. If you didn't distill it that way, let me know. But it feels like they use preservation, conservation, they use these different things to kind of like massage what this really is. Because I don't hear any of the conservation voices. I didn't hear it at city council. I don't hear them saying, talking about other concerns with the private jet industry, with the fact that there's a spy fucking drone being built there. Like we got defense weapons being built there. Like I don't know. I like, where are the critical questions? And this is why I always coastal conservation gets a fucking stank eye from me, because like, why don't y'all lift up some of the we only see y'all after the fact. We see you once the deals have been struck. We see you after things are pretty much set in motion, after you're able to declare you can after coastal has declared like who might be the potential winner, who might be the potential loser. They go with the winner, right? Kia, you're saying that, and D, you said it sounds like a shield. Right. I know y'all busy getting y'all day started, but this is just really weird, because in another piece, somebody was like, well, I think it was earlier, before everyone knew that, it's the Qataris are here, y'all. We can't hide this no more. They sister cities. We doing all this other stuff. We took $100,000. Tecklenburg took $100,000 from the Qatari folk, split it up with the county, right? So to me, I think the cat's out the bag. So now that's what they've done. They've normalized this relationship. So with the help of the Sister Cities International Program, which again enjoys a pretty blemish-free image, because I can't find shit at all. All right, so they benefit from that affiliation, but I feel as if that was lobbied for. There's no way you can convince me that it was a grab bag, like Secret Santa, Doha Qatar. There's no way, given the fact that given the fact of Anita Zucker's son-in-law receiving $7 million in money, $7 million in payment to lobby for the Qataris. There's no way that shit is random. Joy, you said in the chat, it seems like they're calling it conservation, but really it's because they can't build there anyway, right? It's not a buildable land anyway, right? That's how I feel too. And I feel like the conservation part is being lifted up to again provide cover, like Dee said, a shield. Like, this is all being done under the guise of conservation and green shit. It's a fucking private. This is Kia already said that, that's one of her. I've been there as an Uber driver. This is private planes. This is the hoity-toity, right? Of course, I'm sure that the airport has been used for other uses and emergencies and all the other stuff. But like, we know what time it is with this airport, and now the Zuckers have created these deals where now Bars and Aeronautical is coming and expanding their footprint, building a fucking military drone on Johns Island, right? We didn't even get into that. Like, I looked at the specifics of the drone. Like, so it's like 80 pounds. I think it could carry like a 20-pound payload, but they didn't describe what kind of payload. And they say it's a spy drone, but when you say payload, I'm like, don't that mean weapons? Like, don't that mean to be able to drop something? But it's a pretty impressive little drone there, spying. All right, so yeah, the Greenbelt Project. Again, we saw that, we heard that fact mentioned often at the latest city council meeting. Here we go. Qatari Defense. Qatari Defense firm Bars & Aeronautical plans to break ground in mid-October. So this is the delegation coming here. Remember, we just read that. So this is delegation coming here, right? All right. So the Qatari Defense firm Bars & Aeronautical plans to break ground in mid-October on a new light industrial development codenamed Project Rose. Barzin, which has an office in Charleston, proposes, let me stop saying headquarters, has an office in Charleston, proposes to build 3 structures on a 200 space parking area on about 10 acres near an abandoned taxiway beside the airfield to develop spy drones. Let me read it again more smoothly. Barzin, which has an office in Charleston, proposes to build 3 structures and a 200 space parking area on about 10 acres near an abandoned taxiway beside the airfield to develop spy drones. Site plans presented to the city of Charleston in April, I missed that one, show a 54,000 square foot aircraft manufacturing plant, an 18,400 square foot office building, and another structure near the parking area with offices, conference room, and classroom. Doesn't that sound like the Trident Tech stuff? So the Zucker Hall, is this Zucker Hall? Which one is Zucker Hall? The classroom, right? So one of those is Zucker Hall. So are Trident Tech students learning how to build spy drones? What y'all saying in the chat? Kia, you said that airport FBO makes a ton of money. So I'm sure Atlantic Aviation is paying a percentage to them as well. D, you say have to go. Peace out. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend. All right. So yeah, this is early on. This is a quote from Elliot Summy. This is a wonderful opportunity not only to protect the airport, you don't give a fuck about that, but also reduce the amount of homes that could potentially be constructed in the clear zone. So CEO of the Charleston Aviation Authority. I think this is the article where somebody was like trying to be cute and coy. About like the growth and certain financial interests there. Right. It just don't seem like a coincidence to me. Especially getting how Nick get down. Nick is getting down. He's getting very wealthy. Yeah, this is supposed to be here, right? This is. Yep. Okay. 218. Yeah, that's it right there. 218,000 square foot that houses academic courses, right? Go back. Okay, that's different. But is it combined? No, that's still not combined. Huh. All right. Well, I got questions. Joy, you said, oh, damn, they're about to bring all that traffic to Johns Island. And they've been trying to expand the roads and they widen the roads and all that. It's just going to be hell. It's just going to be hell for folks over there. This is going to be hell. I got questions. And I just don't think this is random. And I think that it's fair to question Zucker's interest. When I finally get my shit together, get my notes, get my interviews lined up to have the school privatization conversation with a guest, we're going to talk about the influence of local billionaires in this effort. Because people have arrived at a conclusion that the dark money that has flooded school board races and so on, people have already arrived at the conclusion that a lot of that has these local billionaires involved. It's specifically Navarro, but not just Navarro, right? He stands to gain a lot as well. But this is just back again. Remember we talked about, well, we're gonna call them glucose guardians. No more sugar daddy, sugar mama. We talked about the glucose guardian relationship kind of situation, where like it feels like Charleston has to claim. That's part of the arrangement, right? We you know, these lobbyists go over there. It's like, hey, we need to smooth out our reputation. We need to smooth out our image in the United States, in DC and other influential cities that are experiencing inordinate growth. And then I started looking at tweets. Somebody found this for me. So I started looking at tweets. Though I'm looking at, like, I tried to like look. No, I think I ended up searching some tweets. And I found this tweet from, April 2020. Big thank you to the Doha, Charleston, Sister Cities International Committee. This is crazy. This is like just a random tweet from Charleston County. Just a random tweet. His Excellency Ambassador Mashal Al-Thani, who joined our virtual county council meeting with the generous donation for COVID. So that's when we got the 100K from them. That was split up between Charleston and the county, right? And just like there's nobody's engaging with the tweet. I just feel like they were contractually obligated to do this, to post these things. Let me see what the link is. Oh, this is the news release, right? And what I've seen too, the Qataris, like they're either like news releases that look look very similar to the ones released by Qatari government and the ones that we release here. So like they're basically a very consistent messaging on what this relationship is, this very special relationship, what that is. I don't know why it says May 2004, because it's not. Yeah, so let me see what it says. I can't read it. Today, Charleston County government and the city of Charleston received $50,000 for coronavirus, $50,000 each. Each received $50,000 donation for coronavirus and COVID-19 relief from the state of Qatar Embassy, right? So yeah, the recognition is deliberate. They have to recognize, I believe, as part of the agreement, to recognize the Qatari government. But this is just interesting to me. And then I was reading some more pieces right here. The downsides of being a tech hub. All right, housing disruption and inequality. San Francisco, Seattle, Dublin show what happens when a city becomes a global hotspot for tech jobs without planning to accommodate growth and change. This is written in February, early 2021, and updated in July. I think I'm gonna really enjoy rereading this too, because I do think like the bigger question I'm begging is, like, what is the vision that Anita Zucker and her contemporaries, what is the vision that they have for our area? And then what this popped up too from the Brookings Institute, right? The case for growth centers, how to spread tech innovation across America. Really interesting observations here. Mark Murrow contributed here, but Mark Murrow wrote this piece with Protocol. Winner take most new tech hubs won't rise without big changes. It's almost like a cautionary tale, right? It says, for the last decade, Mark Murrow has sought to unravel the mystery of America's tech hubs. Why aren't they sharing the wealth? That's the other thing we need to worry about with Miss Zucker's influence here. I really think that this is the disparities, the growing wealth disparities, having the wealthiest person in the state having this much influence, factor this prominently in some of these deals and these things that are on its face supposed to appear as purely like just some sort of like benign diplomacy efforts, right? We know we have to start really interrogating this very powerful family and how they get down. I'm gonna tell you this. This is one answer I got for y'all. Nick is a mercenary, and it's all about the motherfucking money with Nick. I'm talking about literally, like, this dude just is getting to the bag, right? I have questions about Nick. And any of his involvement here locally. So if I see Nick Muzin's name associated with any policy, with anything, I'm gonna rear up, knowing that there's been some really thoughtful journalism dedicated to how he's moving abroad with certain interests as a lobbyist, right? With these shadow firms and these shell corporations set up to obscure things. Oh, I'm definitely gonna be looking at Nick like with a closer eye, right? But also, how much of this was brokered by Anita? Like, Nick didn't just become a rising star in South Carolina or Southern red state politics overnight. That wasn't innocent. B-Man in the chat, you said you came in real late, so I don't know what you covered, but there's a history of Middle East investment in Charleston. Absolutely. A Kuwaiti investment group owned the entire Kiowa Island until 1988. Oh, wow. And then Joy, you said Zucker and Navarro have unfuckwithable amounts of money. It feels like Charleston is screwed. And you know, it's pretty much baked in, Joy, to your point. And thank you, B-Man, for your comments. It's pretty much baked in at this point. I think the outcomes are already like, it's going to be what it's going to be. But you're right. And there's no one really interrogating the way this flows. And it's actually the complete opposite. So even, and we know the Post and Courier or the News and Courier, whatever you want to call them, we know that they've been really cozy with Navarro. We know that they are apparently very cozy with Anita Zucker, right? We know that. They're not going to question. They're not going to write anything critical of Ms. Zucker, right? Look at this. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I want y'all to remember. She ain't no Democrat. I don't care how many black kids, how many schools, how many Charleston Promise neighborhoods boards she sits on. She is not a Republican. And that doesn't really mean anything, because honestly, like, it doesn't mean as much as maybe some people who are really, really entrenched in partisan politics. I'm no longer... to me, they both is WWE. It ain't really that much difference between the two parties that we have in this country. But for those who are like who did have that illusion, who suffer from that illusion that, oh, she's not a left-leaning woman of wealth, Linda Kettner. She shows up all the time. She's talking about dark money for years. She's talking about, influence. She's a founding member of AFA. You know what I mean? So, that's a liberal woman of wealth. Zucker, conservative as fuck. All right.
Hi, I'm Lou Kennedy, CEO and owner of Nephron Pharmaceuticals Corporation. I'm proud today to be talking about one of my great friends, an owner of her own company and a boss in her own right, Anita Zucker. Anita is the chairperson and CEO of one of America's largest private companies. She taught me that it's not enough to help children at school age, but we must start at the very beginning, hoping to help children from the time they are born until we help them find their career and their path in life.
Cradle their careers.
I'm telling you, Anita is there when the schools need her. She always, always takes care of the students and children.
It looked like a hostage film. Anita is always there for the kids. And I know I read real janky and all that, but she sounds like, it didn't sound like it was coming from the heart. Let's just say that. It didn't sound like you talking about your friend. They have billions. 1 million seconds is 1 million seconds is 11.5 days. 1 billion seconds is 31.5 years. If she wanted to really help the children, she could. Let me tell you something, Joy, I was going to say the same thing earlier. Like, she could end poverty and still be all right. She could end a lot of the issues that her nonprofit set out to solve, right? She really could. She and Ben could, but the wealth just keep hoarding wealth. And yeah, I definitely don't look at billionaires as hero philanthropists. That's the other thing too. And with the Post and Courier and all these other institutions trying to tech, of course, these are the beneficiaries of her largesse. But like, I don't. There's no reason why we have billionaires. There's no justifiable reasons why we have billionaires. But let me just end up. I'm gonna end right there. She sounds fake as hell, Joni. I'm gonna end there because now I'm just gonna go back a little bit.
Thank you, madam.
I'm gonna go back. So now everything.
The Conservation League feels that much of the city plan reflects important.
All of this from last week. This is Nita. She didn't say her name. She didn't say where she's from.
both rural. This will ensure that this low-lying area is never developed and is used only for non-developmental reasons. Third, the Johns Island Municipal Improvement District.
Come on, guy.
Improving the Greenbelt.
Greenbelt.
Approving the Greenbelt application, and by approving the Municipal Improvement District. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nita Weiss.
Nita Weiss. I've been saying Nita. Nita. All this is just different now. If you were watching from home, you just thought it was
I just want to say thank you for what you did today in regards to honoring Joint Base Charleston with the proclamation, particularly with Airlift Wings 315, 437, and Air Base Wing 628. And specifically, I'd like to also say thank you for the proclamation for acknowledging our sister city, Doha, and Qatar for their efforts in this heroic and timely airlift and evacuation that they accomplished in Afghanistan. So, and I understand that we are going to be having some refugees here settling in South Carolina, and we're looking at, from a sister city standpoint, to see how we can also assist in that process. So I'd just like to say that we are very fortunate to have them as a sister city partner. I don't know if you recall, but last year in May, because we weren't able to do a delegation to Doha that we had planned for 2020 in March, which we're looking at doing this coming March.
okay. Time for wine and
They
food.
actually, and we weren't able to do that because of Corona. They actually donated through our organization of Sister Cities International $100,000 to our organization, which we
Right.
distributed
To the county.
$50,000 to the county and $50,000 to the city
Mhm.
for Corona relief supplies.
Time.
So
Man, they cut her off.
Thank you,
too.
ma'am. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so all this looks different. Like, I mean, once you do the digging, the proclamation.
Thanks for being with us.
No, thank you.
The proclamation.
And this is a little history about the team that some folks may not know. I was there. It was exciting. One as River
Dogs. I must have skipped it. It's the second one. But anyway, the
of thousands, whereas Qatar and Charleston City, sister city Doha, continue to be an important ally in the region, hosting the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East to ensure that our troops are well positioned to support a range.
like, why aren't we having a conversation about how Charleston is like, this is a defense relationship as well? Why isn't let me find that Daily Beast. South Carolina. I want to say Tim Rice, because he was like, why aren't we talking about how, like, this is not just about the diplomacy. This is right. This is not merely about diplomacy. There's a defense angle. So this is when this is from the Daily Beast. This is from this is a new one. Oh, this is a new one that I don't remember this one. South Carolina GOP censors congressman for voting to impeach Trump. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I know. That's why I'm like, that's new. No, let me take him out. Oh. No, there was this like, no. This whole Middle East. Let me see if I put Qatar in there. And I'm a dip. I'm a bounce early, kind of early. Because I kind of just want to leave it there. I don't really have, I don't really have, I just have questions. But yeah, this is back in, this is the piece I was looking for, 2019. Qatari's multi-billion-dollar plan to win back friends in the U.S. So yeah, it's an army of lobbyists deployed over into this region 2 years ago. This is as of 2019. 2 years ago, Qatar was out in the cold and shunned by a new administration in Washington, a subject of economic blockade by its neighbors, Saudi Arabia and all that. But now Doha sees an opening, particularly in the last 6 months. And if you go down, you'll start seeing relationships with South Carolina and whatnot in this piece too. So this has been going on. I just want to know where Anita factors in. I just want to know where and how. What's the long play? What's the power play here for Anita and her family and Nick and all those? I don't know what that is, but I'm interested in seeing that. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I had questions. I want to just open up a can of worms and run. We'll look at, for fairness sake, we'll look at all the billionaires. We'll look at all of them. We'll look at, some millionaires and billionaires, people who really have a lot of influence. We'll look at them, left leaning, right leaning, but I got some questions, especially with Nick, old Nick. This is not a coincidence though. Zucker Hall, Bars and Aeronautical, Anita right here. Not mentioned in the copy, but right there. I got questions. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Have a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday. Ooh, yeah. Take it easy. Be safe. Enjoy that crisp weather when it comes. Hopefully it'll come this weekend. I think it is, right? I think 70s. Enjoy it. Tim's weather. Sweater weather. Maybe. All right. I'll see y'all later. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the subs. Appreciate the follows. Really, really love y'all for everything. Love y'all. Bye.